Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the DC New 52 Review. I want to thank you for tuning into this episode. I'm your host, as always, Pauly DC, and let's get into another one of these things. Today, I will review Teen Titans Volume 1. It was titled It's Our Right to Fight, and it was written by Scott Lobdell with art by Brett Booth and Norm Rapmund, and the first 7 issues were released between November 2011 to May of 2012. This titular team has been around since The Brave and the Bold number 54, which came out in the summer of 1964. There have been dozens upon dozens of heroes to grace the team's roster, and this interpretation has a solid lineup, including Tim Drake in his Red Robin version. He got his name from Tim Burton, who brought Batman back to the cinematic spotlight in 1989, which was the year Drake was created by Marv Wolfman and Pat Broderick in Batman number 436. My second favorite Robin, and he's got a lot going on in this series. Next is Cassandra Sandsmark, aka Wonder Girl, debuting in Wonder Woman number 105 in January of 1996, written and drawn by John Byrne. Next is Kieran Singh, better known as Solstice, who was only created a year earlier by J.T. Cruel and Nicola Scott in Teen Titans number 89. The rest of the members are original creations. There's psionic energy construct wielding Bunker or Miguel Jose Barragan, the bug morphing Skitter, Celine Patterson, plus a new version of Kid Flash the Speedster named Bartor. 2 others are also part of the team, but I'll talk about them later. Issue number 1 begins the story with your basic get to know the character situation, since in the New 52 this title introduces the entire premise as no teen-based superhero team had existed yet. We start with Kid Flash attempting to look heroic by stopping a fire, but he's unaware of what a backdraft is, resulting in him almost blowing his own ass up along with a bunch of firemen. Yeesh. Next, Tim is seen in a New York penthouse. Yes, he has a penthouse where he's watching meta-teen activity involving kidnappings all over the world, but is interrupted by a representative of Nowhere, Zaniel Templar, and a group of masked flunkies who are after his talents, but he has other plans and blows up the residence to escape in his Red Robin gear. Why? Just why? Tim heads off to California, where he tracks down Wonder Girl, who apparently hates being called that, and then after taking down a Nowhere agent trying to grab her, she shows off her power set to destroy a helicopter, and it's found out that she doesn't have anything to do with Wonder Woman. After her impressive display, Tim is already past wanting to just be friends. Too bad for him, she's a rather brash young lady, and after being offered help, she exclaims that Tim must have been homeschooled. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Over in a Nowhere base, a Wildstorm universe character, Caitlin Fairchild, is seen, and she would be pretty popular going forward, starring in the Ravager spin-off title, and also the Superboy solo series, who makes his Teen Titans debut in the issue's last page, and is about to be released by Zaniel Templar. I'll say this now, you'll have to wait for my Superboy Volume 1 review to hear me rip into how he got treated in the New 52. Issue number 2 starts with Cassie and Tim walking around the streets of LA during what looks like Halloween. Holidays and even the 4 seasons were not very clear throughout the event, but hey, it's a good attempt at starting here, right? I did also like the Grifter Wanted posters. That was pretty cool, even though that series had nothing to do with this one. Continuation is always encouraged, though. As the two chat about Nowhere, Cass assures Tim that her biceps are real and to stop looking at them. And then after some more awkward conversation, she even more awkwardly welcomes him to her home, where in the AM he uses his cue pad to get a new lead on his next recruit, beginning with approaching a girl named Claudia Patterson, who he easily gets to admit that her sister Celine is a grotesque bug monster she dubs Skitter. Sure, why wouldn't you trust this random guy? While Tim has been doing all of this, Zaniel and Caitlin have tasked Superboy to watch him and Wonder Girl, He'll show up later, but for now, Red Robin is in the sewers looking for Skitter, but has to deal with the triple duplicating agent of nowhere, Thrice. He's also looking for Skitter, and as Red Robin kicks his ass, chatting him up the whole time, Skitter ends up finding them. She first deals with Thrice, then proceeds to attack Red Robin, allowing the first mention of his inertrite metal wings, and that's basically just DC's adamantium or vibranium. Wonder Girl then all of a sudden shows up literally out of thin air. How she found them, or how did even Tim know to enter the sewer to find Selene, or where she might be down there, I don't know, and I don't care. Cassie then says peace out and leaves. Alright. Kid Flash is seen last in a nowhere lockup talking to fellow inmate Danny the Street. More on that soon, since Kid Flash escapes, pokes around the facility a bit, and finds Solstice. I didn't mention her powers earlier because I'm foggy on what they are. Issue number 3 is pretty much cut up into 3 parts, the shortest being Wonder Girl suddenly caring about nowhere, even though she told Tim that she could give less than a crap about it in issue number 2, but now she's paying the Thrice guy a visit in the hospital for intel on his employers. Yeah, this version of Cassie is extremely unpleasant. Meanwhile, Kid Flash decides to rescue Solstice, then once escaped, they realize they're in a snowy tundra, and because Kid Flash can't seem to do anything right, runs them right off of a slippery cliff. The only thing that saves them from becoming icy splats is Kieran's ability to fly. Lucky, lucky, lucky. The two then find themselves in a street of a town with no idea how they got there. After this, Miguel is seen for the first time traveling via train storage car and discovering Skitter in her cocoon phase inside one of them, along with a train hobo. This actually adds to the Bat family's unmatched disguise game, being Red Robin underneath. For reference, look at this priest costume Jason Todd wore in his series, and they only get better. Red Robin and Bunker scrap a bit until coincidentally Miguel says he's been looking for Red Robin and wants to team up. The train ride halts abruptly, so the duo peek out Scooby-Doo style to see shambling people about due to an intelligent machine called Detritus that mind wipes Tim when he goes to investigate, but does manage to help the local people just as Selene is returning to normal. Weird little side quest they just went on there, that's for sure. Issue number 4 takes us back to New York on New Year's Eve as Miguel tries to cheer up Selene with his bubbly personality, but she's not having it, and Red Robin doesn't make things better with his comments warranting him to be called a jerk for the second time. These three then get a visit from Kid Flash and Solstice inside Tim's second penthouse, because the first one was the expendable decoy. Not sure how Batman feels about all that since he's most likely paying the bills, but anyhow, all the teens swap info before they see Wonder Girl on TV. She was being stalked by Superboy in his first multiple page appearance in one issue, and after making his move, a big brawl starts with Cassie hitting on the guy, trying to beat her down. She may be powerful, but this iteration of Superboy is real tough and is able to defeat her, so an interrogation can go down. Instead, the officially named Teen Titans arrive to rescue her. Issue number 5 continues the New Year fighting with valiant efforts from the Teen Titans, but Superboy takes them out one by one, first by using his psionic telekinesis to make Kid Flash move even faster than he can, sending him into a vortex that Wonder Girl has to kick him out of, sending him across the city on a direct course with a US aircraft carrier ship that Solstice uses her immense energy power to cut in half in order to save Kid Flash. With those two gone, Bunker tries next using his psionic bricks to pummel Superboy, but then he uses real bricks to give Miguel a taste of his own abilities. Red Robin shows next that he's brave or wildly dumb, trying to take this threat hand to hand, and surprisingly doesn't die immediately. Instead, holds his own until he stalls on a finisher, and Superboy gets his costume's electric unit to blast him. Even after Wonder Girl got her face shoved ankle deep into concrete, damn. She's still ready for round 2, trying to use her special lasso to wrangle Superboy. However, he pulls her through multiple city layers until she's unconscious. Solstice has returned, trying to tell him a culling is coming, which he responds to with a headbutt. Except now curious, Soupy finds Zaniel, who was overwatching everything the whole time, and dumps him in a river so he can take off, leaving the Teen Titans behind. I always thought you gotta give appreciation to these issues dedicating the whole thing to a fight scene. It's what we expect sometimes, and if not, why are you here? Issue number 6 has the Teen Titans recovering from their beating. What a way to start the year, getting your asses kicked single-handedly on your first time out together. That's rough. And it gets even rougher when half the NYPD arrives to arrest them, led by Jocelyn Lure, an original character who pops up in 1 or 2 more other titles. Skitter instead makes her presence known. Aha, so that's why she randomly cut the scene for a bit. A highly convenient rescue opportunity via a lot of gross-looking web. Lure is also seen again later, not exactly being who she claims she is, while giving us an early look at Kid Flash because he ain't who he claims to be either. Speaking of whom, Kid Flash is still suffering after effects from what Superboy did to him, so Tim takes him and the team to Star Labs, New York, where a buddy of his, Virgil Hawkins, is, who is also the hero Static, who also got a New 52 solo series of his own. While Solstice and Red Robin accompany him to help Artur with some science jargon. Another original character, a villain called Grim, that's locked up inside, lures Bunker, Wonder Girl, and Skitter into a trap with his mind-body controlling ability, first going after Selene, bringing her on his side, but Wonder Girl and Bunker get their first team up together to stop Grim before things get worse. Just a little filler here because, of course, Virgil helps Kid Flash, and of course has a Flash-looking speedster costume just in his size, which also nullifies his current speed issues. Yeah. Issue number 7 is the last one in this volume, and Red Robin is trying to rally the team to stage an assault on Nowhere's huge Arctic facility thanks to intel he's been obtaining from Danny. Remember, Kid Flash mentioned him earlier. Who's Danny, you ask? A meta thing that is a living sentient street that can teleport from place to place with people too if wanted, which is how Kid Flash and Solstice saw a street earlier after their escape, and Danny has been working undercover for Tim. I got nothing. The rest of the Teen Titans have no interest in helping until Tim gives them a little emotional manipulation, getting Cassie to break first, and eventually they all find themselves trying to rescue Superboy from Nowhere Agent Director Centerhall, who is torturing him. Don't worry, I'll review his title next and explain everything. Bunker, Skitter, and Kid Flash take on a slew of guards on their way to helping Superboy, who can't believe their actions as they get him free. Wonder Girl has her hands full also as she gets the first look at Zaniel Templar's true form, a parasitic serpent monster. Oh boy. Oh wait, she actually uses her special lasso to defeat him with no issue. Let me just retract that, oh boy. While all that's going down, Red Robin gets caught downloading sensitive intel by Solstice, who becomes angered by the way he treats Nowhere's victims like her as another investigation case. Girl, do you know who trained him? He'd lose his Robin card if he didn't do his detective work first. Finally, when the whole team plus Superboy rendezvous, they're pulled right into a trap, all orchestrated by Nowhere's leader, Harvest, and are sent to the colony. Alright, let's start off with the plot for a bit. The inclusion of multiple brand new characters to create the team here was kind of gutsy considering how many characters already existed that could have made it, but it all worked out pretty well as they all have parts that are relatable, likable, and admirable, and sometimes that's not always the case with team stories. In my opinion, the gutsiest move was making Wonder Girl a major hard case and putting Tim in charge of the whole operation. These two had a lot to go. Plus, him not telling his teammates his name but showing them his face and the places he lives is pretty odd. That's enough for them to give you up. Also, Nowhere reminded me of Basilisk from Suicide Squad, and these groups had you thinking that there maybe could have been more of them, like in other series, building up and joining forces to begin a war with superheroes. Something that I'll get into more in another review. The art by Brett Booth and Norm Rapmund is some of the best in the New 52. It's very recognizable, smooth and detailed to perfection, colorful when needed, character designs are spot on. I can't deny that it was some of my favorite stuff, no matter where it appeared. Getting into a bit of dialogue now, I mean, it's not amazing, but I liked it. It's obviously tricky for adult writers to accurately catch the teen drama aura that you'd expect in these pages, yet still being mature and balancing some action into the story. The hardest parts are definitely trying to include popular trends since those things change weekly. Things would get a lot more serious in Volume 2 when there's a big crossover event with a series called The Legion Lost involving the Culling, but I will leave that for next time. And for now, I want to thank you if you've watched until the end, and to please like, share, and subscribe. Please follow me on all my social media platforms, and to join me next time for Superboy Volume 1.